So let's just start with a simple question. If you see someone who's afraid, how can you tell? What are the signs? You're probably picturing some classic reactions right now, aren't you?
But here's where it gets kind of tricky. One person might run away screaming their head off, while another just freezes, completely silent. Someone might hide, another might even start to fight back. You'll notice these behaviors can be the total opposite of each other. So how can the exact same feeling, fear, lead to such a wild variety of actions?
Well, this variety is a huge problem for a school of thought called behaviorism. The basic idea behind behaviorism is that when we talk about mental states like fear or joy, we're not actually talking about some invisible, private feeling. Nope. We're just using a kind of shorthand to describe behaviors we can see, or the tendency, the disposition to behave in certain ways.
And the objection itself is actually super intuitive. It basically says that any single mental state, like being afraid or being thirsty, can be expressed or realized in a whole bunch of different and sometimes even opposite ways. That clean one-to-one link between the inner feeling and the outer action, it just isn't there.
Let's just take the mental state of fear. It's a perfect example. So you're faced with a threat. One person might run away screaming their head off. Someone else might freeze, totally silent. A third person might start fighting back, while a fourth calmly pulls out their phone to call for help. See? They're all feeling fear, but their behaviors are completely different. So if fear is just a behavior, which one is it? It can't be all of them, can it?
So Ryle's solution was to bring in this idea of dispositions. Now, a disposition isn't about what something is doing right this second. It's about what it would do or is likely to do if the circumstances were right. It's all about potential, and we usually talk about it using a bunch of if-then statements.
Here's a simple way to think about it. Take a sugar cube. Sugar is soluble. That's a property it has. It's disposition. It's soluble even when it's just sitting there, dry, in a bowl. Now, that's totally different from the occurrence of it actually dissolving when you finally drop it into your cup of tea. So for Ryle, a disposition is a property that's always there, even when nothing is happening.
And this is Ryle's big move. He says that mental states, things like knowing French or being brave or believing in something, they're just like the solubility of sugar. They are complex dispositions.
Ryle argued that a mental concept like fear isn't one specific action or one specific tendency. Instead, it's what he called an indefinitely heterogeneous pattern of potential actions. I know, it's a mouthful, but it just means a huge, open-ended, and really diverse set of possibilities. Fear isn't what you do, it's the whole collection of things you might do in countless what-if scenarios.
So here's the first problem. If you want to define fear using only behaviors, you'd have to make a complete list of every single possible thing a person can do when they're afraid, in every single possible situation. The thing is, that list would be infinitely long. You could literally never finish it. And if you can't fully list the behaviors, you can't define the mental state, and the whole theory falls apart.
And here's that second punch, which is maybe even worse for the theory. Okay, remember, Leibniz's law, which, put simply, says if two things are identical, they have to have all the same properties. Behaviorism says a mental state is a disposition to behave in a certain way. But if person A is disposed to freeze and person B is disposed to run, they have different dispositions. So, according to behaviorism's own rules, they have to be in different mental states. But we know that's not right. We know they're both feeling the same thing, fear. The theory completely contradicts itself.
Because that one feeling can be expressed in so many different ways, the conclusion is pretty clear. Behaviorism cannot give an adequate account of what our mental concepts mean. The theory is just too simple for such a complicated job.